Good morning, my cookie crumbs, and welcome back to the studio, aka The Lot. Oh, do you hear that? I know, right? It's finally warm enough that I don't need my heater on. I can sit comfortably and record in the studio today without the need of a heater. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. I can't wait for spring. Oh my goodness. Bring on the warmth. Alright guys, let's get into it. So I find that I'm having a little bit of difficulty speaking this morning, so we're going to have a few stumbles. So just bear with me here. I'm doing my absolute best. Gotta get that out of the way too. Here we go. The thing had lunged at him, and Izuku and Tandro had ducked out of the way just in time. The creature blended in with the darkness pretty well, and they couldn't see what it truly was. Was it a human like the chess pieces? Was it a beast of some kind? What was this thing? What were they fighting? They didn't know, and maybe they aren't supposed to know. It didn't matter. Tandro watched as Izuku got into a defensive position, ready to strike if need be. Tandro followed suit and did the same. He really wished he had a sword. Not like he could use it. He wouldn't be able to use breathing techniques with this bracelet on his ankle. And Izuku was pretty much powerless as well. But what Tandro didn't know is that Izuku was skilled in hand-to-hand combat. At least quirkless hand-to-hand combat. Izuku had to fight without a quirk most of his life. And therefore, he built up a skill that not many pro heroes had anymore. It was a shame, really. But Izuku was ready, and therefore Tandro needed to be ready. Tandro was also skilled in hand-to-hand, but he very rarely used it, only if the situation called for it. And now, it looked like he was in a situation that definitely called for it. He just wished that this wasn't one of those times where he had to rely on it. But he had been thinking he had been relying too much on his sword as of late, so this could be a good experience for him. Tandro snapped out of his thoughts when he heard Izuku striking the creature, and it making a sound. Tandro, pay attention. Now's not the time to get lost in your head. Right. I'm so sorry, Izuku. I didn't mean... It's okay. Just keep your focus. Right. Again, I'm Tandro. It's okay, but focus. Izuku also would have a hard time focusing on the battlefield, wanting to analyze everything. But then again, Izuku also thought he had undiagnosed ADHD. His mind constantly going and racing. And right now, his mind just was flipped into his analytical brain. He wanted to analyze the creature, but he couldn't see it. And if he couldn't see it, he couldn't make an analysis. And that wouldn't help them. The creature sprang back up and launched itself right back at Izuku, who was ready for it. He sent that creature flying again, Tandro watching. Tandro watched in amazement. Izuku could move beautifully. He looked like a dancer. Izuku, don't lose your head yet, Tandro. Keep your head in the game, Izuku reminded him. Tandro nodded. He couldn't keep getting lost in his own thoughts. Izuku needed his help. He had to focus, and now was the time since the creature decided to go for him. Izuku had to duck out of the way, so Tandro had to be the one to defend himself. Tandro managed to grab the thing by its neck and throw it to the other side of the room. I touched it, right on its neck. Izuku, did you feel that creature? Yeah, it feels like it has skin, like human skin, but at the same time it feels like it had fur. So we're dealing with a hybrid of some sort? Perhaps. I'm not sure what it is. It's too dark to see it. But it's definitely not human. Or at least, it was at one point. Suddenly the creature screeched, a high-pitched screech. Both boys had to cover their ears. With their ears covered and them distracted, the creature lunged again and managed to slice Tandro's side. Tandro cried out in pain and knelt down. Tandro, are you okay? I'm fine. The creature managed to get me. Oh God, that looks bad. Izuku was about to do some basic first aid when the creature came back and lunged at him again. Izuku was prepared. He gave a swift roundhouse kick and sent the creature away again. Hey Tandro, did you notice that the creature doesn't like to come to the light? Yeah, it only strikes us when it's in the dark. Or when we're in the dark. What's up with that? I'm not sure. It's true that the trapdoor never closed. The boys still had a small bit of light shining down on them from when they fell. They could see a little, but the creature wouldn't move out of the shadows. The boys thought that this was strange. Strange in the fact that the creature would only strike when Tanjiro and Izuku made a move into the darkness. I got it. That thing hates light. If we can lure it into the light, we can defeat it. Izuku wished he had Black Whip. He would be able to wrangle that creature and get it into the light. But this time, he had to make a move. Alright, Tandro, you stay here. Get ready to strike. I'm going to go into the darkness, and I'm going to get that creature to... Izuku, stop! You can't go into the darkness. That creature, getting it into the light is our only hope. And Tandro, you're injured. I can still fight. I know you can. One of us needs to stay into the light, and you're the best choice. What? Why? Not because you're injured. Well, part of that. But Tandro, Izuku, whatever you're planning, just trust me, okay? I can't. I'm sorry, I can. I do trust you, but Izuku, are you still upset about the chess game? Is that why you want to be the one? Izuku, I hurt you badly. Please, let me make up for my mistake. Mistake? Mistake for what? Tandro, you didn't do anything to me. That man made us do it. I know. But if I hadn't moved my chess piece like you wanted me to, if I hadn't listened to you, I wouldn't have injured you so badly. Tandro, look at me. No, really look at me. I'm okay. Izuku's... I just can't. I can't let you get hurt like that again. Please let me be the one. Tandro, we're in this together, remember? Then let us both. One of us has to be in the light. I can defend myself. And it's not your fault for the chess game. You did what we had to do. If the situation were reversed, then you know that I would be the one in your shoes. Izuku, I can't. Yes, you can. Tandro, please. Okay. I trust you. Good. I promise it's all going to be fine. Izuku... Tandro? What's wrong? I don't know. Something feels off. Wait. Your wound. My wound? What is this? What are those? Tanjiro! Oh god, you have a fever. Tanjiro, I think whatever that thing is, it has poison on its claws. Poison? Tanjiro, don't move. We don't know how fast acting this poison is. You need to stay still. Izuku... Stay still. You can't beat this creature on your own. I need to help, please. Tanjiro. New game plan, just stay here. No. Izuku. You can't fight. Lie down. And stay. I'll fight this creature off myself. Izuku, please don't go. You can't fight, and we don't know how fast acting that poison is. Just lie still. I can't watch you die. Please. Don't do it. Don't you dare. I'll be fine. Just lie quietly. Izuku. No. It was then Tandro passed out. The poison was acting pretty quickly. Izuku didn't know how quickly. All he knew was that he needed to get Tandro out of this room. He needed an antidote, and quickly. He would be the one to save Tandro. Don't worry, Tanji. I'm gonna be fine. Alright, creature, here we go. Izuku thrusted himself into the darkness. The creature had been lured into the light. After what felt like hours of fighting, Izuku also keeping an ear out for Tanjiro. His breathing was shaking and shallow. Izuku needed to hurry. He needed to also avoid his claws. He had done so thus far, but the creature had come close. Suddenly, the creature was into the light, and Izuku saw it for what it was. The creature was a beast, some type of a chimera. It had fur, skin that resembled a human's, but it also had scales. It had fangs and claws. Whatever this thing was, it was deadly, and it needed to be put out of its misery. The thing also looked like it was in pain. I'm sorry, Izuku said to the creature. The creature stopped all of a sudden and whimpered. It tilted his head as if it was listening. I'm so sorry. You were probably once a human, and now look at you. This deranged man did this to you. The creature whined. I'm sorry. The creature bowed its head and allowed Izuku to touch it. It was then the creature guided his hand to his neck, begging Izuku to take its life, to end its misery. Are you sure? Izuku asked. Are you absolutely sure? The creature nodded. It was positive. It couldn't go on like this. It couldn't go on fighting. Especially if it was hurting innocent people. It gave a whine as if to apologize for his friend. Izuku shook his head and stated that it wasn't his fault. It wasn't its fault. Just as swiftly, Izuku snapped its neck, and the creature fell to the floor. I'm so sorry, Izuku said softly. He knelt down on the ground and said a quick prayer for the poor thing. He rushed over to Tandro, but the two were suddenly back in their cell. Izuku shouted for the man to come and give Tandro an antidote, and quickly. If he didn't want him to die so fast, then he better come. The man made no answer. Izuku screamed and screamed and screamed until he was hoarse. And suddenly, the gag was back on his face, the one that he had on before. I tire of your screaming, the man said, stepping out of the shadows. It was dark in their room, simulating nighttime. Izuku, behind the skin-tight gag, screamed muffledly, trying to get him to give Tandro the antidote, or whatever it was that would cure him. I gagged you and you're still screaming. I should have just taken your voice away, but this suits you better. Now then, you want the antidote, yes? Izuku nodded. Then a price must be paid. Izuku tilted his head. A price? What kind of price? You killed my poor creature. My beautiful chimera. The price for killing that chimera? Well, it should be Tanjiro's life. A life for a life, after all. Eye for an eye, something like that. But instead, I want something different. The man smiled horribly. What price could he be talking about? Curious, aren't you? I'll let you find out. But here, he threw a vial at Izuku and he caught it. Inside that vial is the cure for the poison. Give it to the boy. But after you give it to the boy, your price shall be paid. Izuku watched as the man vanished. The Disney villain reject wasn't laughing or anything, wasn't acting like his usual self. Izuku couldn't worry about that right now. He had bigger issues to worry about. He popped open the vial and woke Tandro up long enough for him to drink it. Tandro was conscious enough, and he sucked down the vial. Izuku wanted to tell Tandro to rest, but that skin-tight gag was still on his face. The one that he couldn't get off because there was no knot, no nothing. Only the man could take it off, and he wasn't going to remove it anytime soon. Instead, Izuku just relaxed and allowed Tandro to drift off peacefully on his own. Izuku grabbed the Hiyori that they had been using as a pillow and a blanket and covered Tandro with it. Things should be better tomorrow, or at least, I would hope, Izuku thought to himself. Please let them be better tomorrow. Please, he prayed. Oh boy, my poor boys. Why am I doing this to them? Why? Why? Just why? Why? Alright, anyways, we're going to have a little intermission for the next chapter, and you'll see why. But don't worry, we'll get back to our beautiful boys after that intermission, so stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.